Now, there have been recent photos of Deontay Wilder in training camp. I think yesterday I seen one with him in Badu Jack, and today I've seen one with him training with Michael Hunter, and he also met Francis Ngannou. So it's interesting to see Wilder. Looks like he's back in the gym. He said he's trying to get back into his groove. You know, this is someone who's been out of the ring for a while, and it's understandable. He's had two back-to-back knockout losses from Tyson Fury. And those losses can often take a lot out of you, and it takes a lot of time to come back from those type of losses. But it seems like Deontay Wilder is trying to get back. Not like he's ever out of shape. You never see Deontay Wilder overweight because of his body type, and we'll go on to talk more about that in this video. But yeah, he is back in training camp. He's looking to probably get his fitness levels back up because he's probably going to have a fight maybe the end of this year. Who knows? We'll see. Now, there are two things about, these photos with Badu Jack and Michael Hunter that I want to talk about. First of all is about Deontay Wilder's legs, and the second thing is about what appears to be a weight loss from Deontay Wilder. Now, this obsession with Deontay Wilder's legs and him having skinny legs has been going on for quite some time now. We can all clearly see that this guy is very top heavy. Most of his muscle is in his upper body. Most of his weight is in his upper body with very little in his legs. But virtually every time I see Wilder post a photo or a video, on Instagram, or whenever something's leaked about Deontay Wilder, someone comments about him having skinny legs. So I just feel like it's borderline excessive at this point. We can all see and tell Deontay Wilder has narrow, skinny legs. But the fact that, I see it under every comment, and it's like got a bunch of likes and people making videos, mocking Deontay Wilder's skinny legs. Yeah, it's just kind of old news now. Deontay Wilder has a very ectomorphic frame. He's got a more narrow frame. He doesn't have a super wide bone structure. He's one of those tall, lengthier people. We've all seen those people in our lives. Tall, lengthy, slimmer people. That's Deontay Wilder. He never gets super out of shape because even at the age of 37, his genetics don't allow him to carry excessive body fat. That's why we never see Deontay Wilder in the 240s or the 250s. No, his body is not designed to be that big and carry that much body fat. So that's why we never see Wilder super heavy and super out of shape. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly talk about people talking about Wilder's legs. I do think it's excessive. He has skinny legs. We can all see it. He doesn't need to put a bunch of muscle on his legs or his upper body. In general, he doesn't need a ton of muscle. He's a boxer. He needs to have good endurance. Having really big muscles in your upper or lower body is going to be to your detriment, and that's what we saw in the probably second and third Fury fight. He went from 212 pounds in the first fight to 231 to like 238 in the third fight. Now, although that's good for your aesthetics, it can often hinder your athletic ability and your ability to have good endurance in a fight, because we saw in the trilogy fight against Fury, he was gassing after the second, third round. He was really tired, and putting on that weight, it's going to affect him. Now, people have been talking about, it looks like Deontay Wilder's lost a ton of weight. I don't think he's been necessarily doing a bunch of cardio and trying to remove that muscle. It's a situation where he wasn't designed to carry 238 pounds. He wasn't designed to have that much muscle on his frame. And essentially, when you stop weightlifting, your muscles kind of atrophy after like 2-3 months. If you don't go without weightlifting, or if you go without weightlifting, for an extended period of time, your muscles, they deplete, they like lose air, kind of like a balloon. I just try to imagine that. The longer you go without weightlifting, if you've put on a ton of muscle, it essentially deflates until it goes back to its genetic size. Essentially how it was before you ever started lifting the weights. That's what I think has happened with Deontay Wilder. I don't think he's went out there, done a bunch of cardio and removed the muscle. No. he wasn't designed to be 238 pounds like he was in the trilogy fight. So the fact that he probably stopped doing as intense training sessions since the loss against Tyson Fury and stopped lifting heavy weights, and that loss to Fury was, what was it, October last year? Almost a year ago. Since he stopped doing those weights, essentially his muscles depleted and went back to their natural size. This was somebody who weighed in 212 pounds in the first fight against Tyson Fury. And that was with a mask on and so on and so forth. He had a few things that probably would have gave him 2-3 more pounds. He probably walks around 209, 210 pounds, and that's his natural weight. So no need for Deontay Wilder to put on excessive weight. He's getting older. It might affect his cardio, so it's best to just fight at, his natural weight. So those were my thoughts on what looks to be like a weight loss transformation for Deontay Wilder. I think it's more conducive to long-term success in boxing for him to be walking around his natural weight. And I feel like another factor, obviously the main factor for him adding all of the muscle in the trilogy fight for Tyson Fury was to be able to deal with Fury's size. In the rematch, Tyson Fury was leaning on Deontay Wilder, so Deontay Wilder wanted to be able to deal with all of the clinching that Tyson Fury was doing and all of those tactics. He wanted to be able to negate essentially negate Fury's size advantage, but it's almost impossible to do that because Fury is someone who is comfortably in the 270s, while Wilder is someone who is naturally in the 210s. So, it's such a big weight disparity that even if you do add all of that muscle, you're still not going to really be able to deal with all of that excessive, clinching and Tyson Fury essentially leaning on you and putting all of his weight, I guess it helps, but it completely takes away and detracts from your cardiovascular endurance. And you must also suspect that another reason Deontay Wilder put on all of this weight is because, his competitors weigh in the 240s, 250s, comfortably. Guys like Joshua, Dylan White, and so on and so forth. And they've also clowned him about, being very light. There's a video from Joshua on IFL TV. This is many years ago, many years ago, probably more than 4 years ago, where he hysterically laughs at Deontay Wilder's weight, saying, what is he, 19 stone? And Dylan White and Tyson Fury have also come out in the past and mentioned, oh, Deontay Wilder's got such skinny legs, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it is what it is. He's a light person. Nothing really wrong with it. It gives him a speed advantage that these other heavyweights don't have. These other heavyweights are a lot more slower than Deontay Wilder. Him being so light gives him that speed advantage and enables him to produce a lot more power. Deontay Wilder's very similar to someone like Tommy Hearns in terms of his frame, but they've got a lot of punching power. Very, very light, carry most of the muscle up top, and are able to produce a lot of power, in that straight right hand. So those were my thoughts on, these new photos of Deontay Wilder in training camp with Badou Jack and in training camp with Michael Hunter. He looks like he's back at a lighter weight, which I think will be better for him. And there's no need to excessively talk about how skinny his legs are, because, we've been hearing this for years. It's just kind of excessive now, at least in my opinion. It doesn't really matter. Deontay Wilder is one of the most exciting fighters, and he's one of the biggest punchers of all time. So I'm not really bothered if he's got skinny legs, massive legs, normal sized legs. I don't really care, but it seems to really bother other people. So yeah, those were my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Alright, peace guys.